Hey everybody, in this episode of the Timeless After Show, we're breaking down Season 2, Episode 2, the Darlington 500. We've got race cars, sleeper agents, and perhaps the inspiration for George Lucas's character, Han Solo. Let's check it out.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
4 o'clock rock. 5, 6, 7
It was like
o'clock,
twist.
8 o'clock rock.
I know, right?
Getting our dance on right here at the Timeless After Show. Welcome everybody, breaking down every episode of Timeless, airing Sunday nights. We're breaking it down Monday nights, right here on AFTERBUZZ. I'm your host, Frank Moran. Monday nights, Wednesday nights. Let's get the days of the week.
What is it?
Yeah,
It's
I'm
the
your host, Frank
music.
Moran.
You've been time traveling too
That's right.
much. Hi guys, I'm Alexis Torres.
Hey, how's it going? I'm Kari Lane.
And I'm Takira Shabrae. I'm like getting Elvis vibes over here. Okay, so.
Now, folks, of course, you can like us on Facebook, give us those 5 stars on iTunes, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and give it some thumbs up while you're there. And feel free to hop in the chat. We got the chat up and running, so share your thoughts about Timeless in general or this episode in particular. So we'll dive into it in detail in just a moment, but first, a little quick overview. What did everybody think of the episode?
It was good, but I don't count that as a kiss.
Oh, yeah. I think it's really
No.
funny. Is that like going to be our
nope.
theme for the rest of the episode? Or not
we
episode,
were
the
making-
season, where it's like, just kidding.
Yeah.
Almost got you.
I called 3. It got just enough close. I think I'm still sticking solid to my 3. And then we'll see. But I
No,
really
it was
liked
close.
Yeah.
I'm with Carrie on this one. I'm like, I don't think it was. I don't think it was
No,
touched. It was very close though.
Yeah.
You've won it because I saw the promos for next week, so it's happening next week.
Okay.
Yeah, so, yeah.
Wait, what was our bet?
2, 3.
3,
Oh, I was like the latest
7
at like
or
7.
something, and
7.
5. You know.
It's
But
just
overall.
that kind of show that I
No,
wouldn't be
it's true.
surprised.
That's what I thought. It was just gonna tease you for the entire
Just
season.
kidding. Yeah.
Dang, I lost.
So, yeah, we got a few interesting things here this episode, and a few kind of, I don't know, I felt somewhat frustrating. So, as we dive into this, see what you guys think about
I can't
it.
wait to hear this.
Yeah.
I miss Frank Rants.
But I think the first thing that we all like about it is that we get Garcia Flynn. We had him just teased at the end of the last episode. We get to see him more this episode. What did you guys think of Garcia's contributions and where he may be going forward with the Timeless team?
I want to. I mean, he's somebody you can't trust, but I kind of want to trust him because he is he makes excellent points of like, I was trying to warn you guys the whole time, but never listen to me. And then he's kind of like, all right, this first one's for free. So it's like, oh, what do they gotta give him next time?
Right. Yeah, I think I kind of trust him. I mean, he's one of those love to hate kind of guys, but I think he's completely necessary because, you know, a historian can only go so far. So I like the switch up that they did. The fact that, you know, it's a little unpredictable. So, yeah, we'll see.
I'm in the middle where I'm like, I want to trust you, but I feel like there might be ulterior motives later that they're going to reveal later. Because like, I feel like he'll trick us where it's like, oh, I'm going to be on your side and do all these things, and then there's going to be that one mission where he's like, yeah, I'll help you, and then he's actually doing other things, or he escapes or something like that.
Yeah.
We'll never see him again.
Well, we saw last season that Flynn went to extremes to try to accomplish what he
Yes.
needed to do.
Correct.
And when Lucy and he talk in the prison cell, she says, I'm ready to do what it takes. Do you really buy that Lucy is willing to just go to the extremes that Flynn did?
No. She's too emotional. Yeah.
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 Well, also they have a higher moral compass, better moral compass.
Yeah, no, correct.
Because they're not gonna just randomly kill people, but
Well, although Lucy did last week.
yes.
Well, I mean,
But they were
that
gonna
was
be killed
technically her
anyways.
choice, but like,
It was her choice.
yeah.
Yeah, I think
It's
she's
weird.
extremely emotional, and I think she might come face with, because she's by blood connected to this whole Rittenhouse thing, and so I think that she's gonna have to choose, and I don't know if she can. I don't know if she can get there. I don't know, because I mean, if you think about it, if she makes the wrong move, like, she doesn't exist, so that's kind of, you know,
Yeah.
a lot going on. Just like.
Yeah, it's. I feel like whether she's going to temper Flynn and he's going to at least, I guess, embolden her kind of more harsher instincts. So maybe they kind of meet somewhere in the middle.
Maybe.
I think if it's like if they come across somebody that they are like a pure bad guy, our team is more likely to kill someone.
Okay.
If there's question, then no, they won't. But if they're like, if they met which would be questionable, the founder who's now in the present, I think they'd be okay, like, knocking him off.
Right.
The question would be is if Lucy's still alive if they kill her crown. Like,
Right.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, because I am worried about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because one of those...
Yeah, especially because with this
Yeah.
show, it kind of, it tries to stick with time traveling laws, but because we're also trying to make good TV,
Yeah.
we kind of bend those rules a little bit, but don't break them completely, so
Yeah.
it's interesting. I'm very concerned.
Well, as we mentioned, her Lucy's great-grandfather. Let's talk about him for a moment. He's a peach.
Oh, isn't he?
Yeah.
What a
What
a guy.
I don't really feel like he's too happy with Carol. Like
No.
for some reason, I just
Yeah.
feel
No.
this hatred, almost like this disgust. So I'm kind of interested to see what that's about.
So imagine if you time traveled into the future. Would you want just everything that made you feel comfortable, or would you be willing to just like, nope, I want to embrace everything that's new and modern about this time period that I'm in?
Both.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I feel like it's kind of hard because you're trying to adjust to a completely different time. Because it's not like 5 years into the future, 10 years in the future.
Yeah.
You are decades like into
Yeah.
the future, to the point where like you can look at a screen, like what he was saying earlier. So
He made a good argument, though.
Yes,
like, it
I
hurts my
agree.
eyes. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
You want to print it out. But, like, particular foods, like, okay, if that's where you're used to eating, sure.
yeah,
Pickled eggs?
Has anybody had pickled eggs?
Yeah,
I don't think
I'm
so.
not gonna lie. I had
had-
pickled everything when I was a kid, but I'm
Pickled
from
eggs?
pickled everything.
I can't
Pickled
do
eggs.
I can't do
pickled-
eggs.
yeah.
Period.
I
so-
can't do it anymore, but yeah, I had pickled almost everything when I was, I'm from the sticks though, like from the country roads of Tennessee, so whatever.
No, I think that's fine. Keep it together, Frank.
You
Don't
eat
worry,
all
Frank.
kinds of food and write about it. So
I'll
you know.
bring-
Yeah, so
Later next.
I love pickles, so I'm imagining a pickled egg. You do not taste really the egg; you just taste the briny
Oh,
juice.
you haven't had a pickled egg?
No.
no, it tastes like an egg, doesn't it?
Well, darling, I'll
here
bring
we go.
you some. I'll bring you some pickled eggs next week.
Keep it together, buddy. Keep it together.
It just.
I had a roommate who used to eat. I mean, he probably still does. He's like a really good friend of mine, but I'm not his roommate anymore. He would have like pickled eggs in a jar and would eat them randomly, and I'm like, "Yo, good for you." He's like, "You want one?" I'm like, "No."
Yeah.
But I appreciate you.
I think, interestingly, him requesting those things, I think, is what stood out to me. That he was kind of not really open to. He was almost like surprised and pissed at the same time that they brought him back to that time zone. So, I mean, I think if you're excited about what's to come, you would be more open to the new things. But he had that mini tantrum moment where he was just like, no. I felt like he was just like, no, I'm not going to embrace this. So even down to when he was drawing that picture of his daughter, her mother,
Yeah.
it was almost like he would have much rather seen her than Carol. That's the vibe that I got. I don't know.
But I
So-
like.
He was disappointed.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I felt like he was like irritated because he's not in his own time. He's not with his family, but he's also probably even more irritated that he's like, I've tried to make this organization, something, and you guys are wrecking it. Get it
Right.
together.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, he probably thought that they would be further in with their plans and their domination, but they're not. Especially because now we have a group who's trying to foil that. So he's probably just really irritated.
Well, I feel like because it seems like the reason they were able to bring him in, as we talked about last week, too, from the past to the present, was that he most likely died back there in World War I. So the fact that nobody says that, like, hey, I know you might miss your daughter, but you'd be dead right now if we didn't bring you forward.
True, but he also doesn't seem like the type of guy that's like, well, thank you for pointing that out. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like he'd be like, okay, great, but you guys still suck. Fix it. You know?
Yeah, he seems like an unpleasant individual, but we find by
Yeah.
the end of the episode, it's one of those things where it's like he's just a doddering old fool out of his time, and at the
That
end
is
he's
not
created
what-
this huge tapestry.
Yes.
Crazy.
And Emma?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, she's smitten.
Right? I was thinking the same thing. I was like, oh, that turned so quick.
Right.
like,
Yeah, she's like, oh, hello.
There's that power.
I see it now.
Yeah.
I want that.
When you looked at that tapestry, were you? I mean, I was looking and going like, huh? What
Yeah,
is
I was
this?
very
Yeah.
confused. I was like, I don't know what's happening. I see Abe Lincoln, though. And I was like, Get it, President?
It feels like it's very grandiose and that there's probably a lot of layers in there, and he gets that blueprint, but he's going to have to break it down for everybody else.
Yeah.
I agree. Can you imagine that meeting?
Yeah.
All right, guys, I know that you don't understand my mural. We're going to go by this one by one. Don't leave. Here we go.
With the new pointer, he's like, oh, how do you work this thing?
What is this, a laser? Oh, God. Oh, my eyes. Okay. And just like trying to figure it out.
I got a little disturbed because when you're looking at it, it's kind of one of those pictures that it looks like things are on fire. It looks like the world is ending, and then there's, like you said, Abe Lincoln.
Just randomly in the
oh,
middle.
hey, what's up, you in the middle?
Yeah.
And then you see like this ugly, it's kind of more like an ugly path that they're trying to take. It just clarifies that piece.
I feel like they should have just wrote evil on the back. And we're like, yes, we get it. You're an evil organization. Good job, everyone.
Right.
We can all go home.
Right.
Well, and it seems as much as Emma was smitten, as everybody was saying, that you look at Carol's face and she's like, oh, what have I done?
Yeah.
What have I done?
Right.
She's like, whoops.
So do we think that Carol might jump to the other side?
Definitely.
Yeah?
She seems a little in over her head.
All right.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
And I think episode 1 is kind of like foreshadowing to
Yeah,
that too.
yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Well, let's also talk about another genius that's also having a little trouble adjusting to new things. That's Connor Mason. So we saw him last week he was watching that footage again and again, exploding, and now he wants to try to at least restake his claim as in the forefront of the technology movement by doing a little public speaking.
Spoiled brat.
Mm-hmm.
I have qualms with him and
Lay it on.
Yeah.
my God, what's her name?
Agent Christopher?
Thank you, Agent Christopher. Okay. I feel like they were both at fault on this one. One, Mason should know better because it's like you're trying to keep a cover. Why would you just go out and do all these things?
Right.
But I'm also mad at her because I'm like, why you gotta make a spectacle? Why you gotta do this? Just find another way. There could have been a different way. But I guess it's just because I felt bad for him that I was like, I understand what you're trying to do. You just want to feel normal again. That's tough, especially because you're on the run. But at the same time, I'm like, you just wanted a power trip. You, like, I don't know. I felt weird about how that situation was handled, but I also feel like there wasn't another way to do it.
He could have Skyped in.
Yeah, sure.
That's what I thought. I'm like, you can't come to the conference, do a video, or he could have recorded it and sent it.
And sent it. Yeah.
So then it's not really as traced.
Yeah.
And I think she had to do the spectacle though.
No, I
because
know.
He's
It
a child
just
throwing a tantrum, and
sucks.
she's like laying down the law.
I know, but I'm also worried because the fact that when you make a spectacle of something, sometimes that's not gonna. It might not end the way that you want it to. So I was just like, think your actions, people.
Yeah.
Well, because I don't think, and correct me if I'm wrong, like Mason's not necessarily on the run, but his
reputation has gone down. Yeah.
So he wants to at least kind of build that back up. Is that so bad? Because
No,
if he's not talking about anything,
but he
That's why I
done
felt
it.
bad.
Yeah.
He definitely needs to feel needed. So it kind of makes you question, okay, if he is not needed, like really what's his purpose? So I kind of think if we're questioning that, I don't think I'm the only one, whether or not he has a purpose, it kind of makes you think, okay, maybe he does, something bigger is going to happen in the future, in maybe later episodes. So because at this point I'm just like, okay, well, you built the time machine, bravo, but everyone knows how to work it. So what's the point here? To shut you up so that you don't tell what we're trying to do?
Yeah, it's just tough because I know that he's just kind of part of like the brain of everything that's happening, but he's also not on his game either.
Right.
So I don't know. It's
he made the wrong choice to trust the wrong people, and
Yeah.
it's kind of
and
like
I think that's exactly what's gonna happen.
That's a tough pill to swallow.
Which sucks because I'm like, this is how we got into this situation in the first place. Because you trust the wrong people, then they end up using you, and it just, I just feel like his character's doing a loop, and I don't like it.
Yeah, exactly.
Personally.
Right.
do you think he could change his ways and say like, oh, Rittenhouse, I'm so sorry. I should have gone with you guys originally. Would Rittenhouse be accepting of him?
That's where it's going, I feel.
Yeah, I was about to say, I wouldn't be surprised.
I would not be surprised because he's like, oh, Agent Christopher's not giving me anything. They gave me everything, but I betrayed them, so...
Your mom didn't give it to you, you're going to go to your dad.
Yeah.
I think if they find a use for him, it's not going to end very well for him.
I mean, I called that last season. I was like, he's going to die. And he didn't. And I was like, what is this madness?
When you were kind of asking why does it matter, Emily in the chat pointed out, which I kind of was thinking too, Rittenhouse knows that the teams... they would know the team's alive, so they might follow Mason. Be like, okay,
that
the
makes
team's
sense. That
alive,
makes sense. Yeah, okay.
Or some kind of connection.
True.
Because
I
he's
didn't even
hiding
think
with
about
them.
that.
So.
Yeah.
That's true.
Dang it, Mason. I was rooting for you.
So we're learning that you should, watch your P's and Q's if you've exploited a time ship in your.
True.
Yes. But folks, if you also want to have fun, learn, and grow in all areas of your life, for those who do, we've got a podcast for you. Conversations with Marie Menounos, podcast edition, is hosted by our AfterBuzz TV founder and drops every Friday on iTunes. Conversations with Marie Menounos features celebrity and influencer interviews, along with secrets and tips on how to be better in all aspects of life, from health and wellness to career and relationships, finances, and more. Let our Maria be the big sister you never had. Just go to iTunes and subscribe to Conversations with Marie Menounos for free. And when you do, let them know that it was the ABTV Timeless team that got you there. Conversations with Marie Menounos podcast edition. Check it out. There you go.
I just wanted to add something in there.
So let's get to the mission of the week here, where we find something's happened back in South Carolina. There we go, Darlington.
1955.
Yeah, there we go. We get we meet a race car driver who happens to turn out to be our sleeper agent, and we kind of see how the sleeper agent kind of works when they're introduced into the timeline.
It's crazy.
And then they fall in love.
True,
Right.
but
It's all whoops.
what I do like, though, we have our Ryan Millerson, who's supposedly this very famous NASCAR driver,
Yeah.
and had by being kind of injected back into
Yes.
or at least sometime earlier than 1955.
Yes.
I said like 46 maybe or something like
But
that.
I think that was that moment where I was really impressed with the writing, was the fact that I didn't even think about, like, memories wise, like the fact that Wyatt was sitting there like, well, he can't be the sleep agent because I remember him as a kid because I saw the stuff. It's like, no,
Right.
he was placed there. He's been there for the entire time, and those memories that you see are what, it hit my brain.
Like,
Yeah.
like mind blown.
Yeah, it was
that was the moment.
crazy.
Was like yes.
I was like, this is why the show is so awesome.
yeah.
But I'm wondering if that person's path would have existed if they weren't there.
I don't
Would
know.
somebody else have won the races that way if
Yeah.
that sleeper agent had been placed?
I mean, yeah, because technically we got to meet I'm forgetting our awesome African American.
Wendell Scott?
Yeah, Wendell. Yeah.
Yes.
And how technically we got to see his history.
Yeah.
So I mean, there might have been just a different
Yeah.
driver maybe at that point. So
Yeah, I'm interested because if he was placed there, this child, who's the child? Like, what happens to the baby? Because
you think we're gonna see?
I don't know, because I mean he died, and if you think about it, he said, "Oh well, the child was an accident." And maybe I'm thinking too big into it, but I'm kind of like you, where it's about time and you can't really bend.
Yeah,
It's going to be a moment when they're like, "Oh, just kidding."
Yeah.
You know, the child. I'm interested because he said, "Oh, she was a decoy and the child was an accident." Well, if he gets killed, the child's still going to be born in the 50s,
Yes.
which would then make
Yeah.
that person. I mean, there's
There's a
like a
lot of
lot going
diagrams
on,
going on,
but
yeah.
I don't know. I'm just curious about. I'm addicted to the show because I like the connection piece. I don't like it just for the fact of, oh, we're going back in time and trying to get away from
course.
Emma or whatever. I want the connections, darn it. And so I'm just thinking about that.
No, that's cool. I like that theory too. I didn't even think about that.
It feels the way that Emma was talking, that once our good old boy Millerson finished his mission, that Emma would take out the wife and the kid. I think that was the intention.
plan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
you would eliminate them. That kind of
They
reduces
could
that
come
year.
back and get rid of them because they could come back and get rid of them later, anyways.
That's true. Yeah. So then at that
They
point
really
we
want to
wouldn't
wrap
even-
it all.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Yeah. Then that would also suck because then we don't get anything from that.
Oh, well, dream killed.
Yeah. Good job, Frank. No, just kidding.
All right,
I'm
well,
just kidding.
how will you choose? Will you assume that off camera they probably went back and eliminated those two, or they've got more pressing things to worry on?
I
or
think
keep going
it's-
I
moving
think they
forward?
have way more things.
Yeah,
to
totally.
do. Yeah.
Like it's just some baby that's gonna be born that it doesn't really matter.
Well, to them, yeah.
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 It's a bigger picture.
it's a
thing.
smaller, yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, of course, our team's got to head back to 1955 to help out with this, and I thought of Kari Lane at this moment because they have to cosplay.
Yeah.
They get ready, and they go to Old Navy.
Yes.
I was like, oh, sponsor.
Yeah. Well, that's why I wear my little scarf and did my hair.
Yeah.
But they make a good point that they're like, it's pretty easy to blend in. Though Lucy's dress is a little particular.
I was gonna say.
But you could find that probably at thrifts, like a boutique thrift store or something.
Yeah, and it
But
didn't look like
the
anyone
guy
was-
is super easy.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I was like, I don't think anyone was really paying attention to Lucy at this point. So
No.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I just think it's been convenient that Lucy has like the perfect hair length and color that she can style it to any time
Anything. I was like,
period.
all right, no.
It's like, well, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, of course, they go back and they meet Wendell Scott. We talked about him. A famous bootlegger and the first black or African American NASCAR racer. Yes.
It was super fun.
Yeah.
Oh, I have to talk about this next part.
Yes.
The nod.
Yeah.
I'm so happy. Because the bad thing is, I was watching it on my TV screen. He did it, and I did it back. And I was like, what? He's not even here in front of my face. And I just did it because it was so instinctual. I was like, I love that he was just like, what are you doing?
Right. I love that too. And I love that because I know you guys had a chance to talk with Malcolm a little bit, and he
Sorry. Hi, Malcolm. I miss you.
I love that he brought up the fact that he's like, I get to be an intelligent African American in those times, and it's so funny that those little things, those little connections, it's like, oh man, come on.
Yeah.
It's like black color revoked a little bit. So it's like, oh wait, hold on, they don't exist yet.
Yeah, it hasn't been invented yet. And I was
funny.
like, wow.
I like this MIT line drop.
Yeah.
You're at MIT.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah.
He's like, oh.
And then I was like, oh, how old is MIT? So I was glad it existed.
I feel like they've been there around for quite some time.
Yeah.
I don't know the full history of it, but I feel like it's been.
Yeah.
I have to admit, I was impressed with it because I always like the head nod. I've always just like known like the head nod, but I never would have thought like a time the head nod.
Didn't exist.
Yes. And then how weird it would be, I guess, to have that thrown at you and not know what that meant.
Yeah,
Yes.
especially because back in that time, a lot of them are on edge most of the time because the fact that anything can happen. So the fact that just like this, they're just like.
I think, but the thing with the nod is so fun too. Is like that's not necessarily just exclusive to any particular group because I'm like, no, you see someone you know, and you're like, what's up?
you head nod.
It's the what's up nod. And
Yeah, I just thought it was so funny.
I mean, maybe then it's the tip down, like respectful, like
Yeah.
I see you. It's more like the tip of the hat, yeah.
Milady.
But it's not the what's up.
Yeah, it's just so crazy to me because that's just been like a part of my life with other people, friends and family and things like that. But I just thought it was so funny.
That was
what the hell?
Thank you,
was
Emily, in the
cute.
chat. MIT was mentioned in the Murder Castle episode.
Hey,
Good catch.
there you go.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, Rufus, as I kind of alluded to at the beginning of the episode, refers to him with the quote there, hunk of junk, fast ride, smuggler, rebel, racer, and made the Fall Creek run in less than 12 parsecs. This Wendell Scott dude sounds like a real-life Han Solo. Look at that. So, and we know George Lucas loves cars. So
That is true.
Makes
That's his
sense.
inspiration for American Graffiti. So,
Oh.
never know where he may have
Yes.
drawn some bits of inspiration for various characters that he used in his universe. I haven't seen American Graffiti in the longest time, so I don't know if there's anybody that kind of maybe has some of those characteristics of the Wendell Scott.
Yeah, because I was like, I also haven't seen it in a long time, so I was like trying to remember, and I was like, nope.
So we do find out. It seems I'm not quite exactly sure what Rittenhouse's plan was because they have a bomb in Millerson's car,
Right.
and he's just going to drive around. Well, we find out later that there we have various presidents or heads of the various automotive companies.
Yeah.
They're in the stands to
Like
watch.
Ford and a bunch of other people.
Chrysler and
Chrysler,
GM.
yeah.
So I'm not sure if he's just going to drive by and then activate it. So I guess he is almost like a suicide.
No, he was gonna drive into
Into
where they were
which,
standing.
Yeah, but then
which still means like why? Like I know the power that those men have, but
It's pretty much just, I guess, if you kill them, it's kind of like cutting the head off the snake kind of thing. Like there wouldn't be somebody to start automobiles until maybe a little bit later.
right.
Or then they would take over and do it.
Right.
Yeah, that's
They
exactly.
as in
Yeah,
Rittenhouse,
Rittenhouse was
yeah.
like, oh, hey, nobody else is doing
Yep,
it.
yep,
We're
yep.
gonna do it, and then they would pretty much just own everything at that
that's-
point.
that's what I thought. I guess thought bigger,
Yeah.
but I guess it is that big. I mean, those men didn't start organizations that are and companies that are really big. So
Yeah, I just assume that maybe they just don't like talk to other people about like the plans that they're doing. Maybe it's just like within like a certain group. So if they're all dead,
Yeah.
like where are the plans for that? So I don't know.
your wheels are turning though.
yeah, because Millerson's plan is that if he's going to drive it into that grandstand and explode the car,
Yeah.
he's going to have to die with the car as well too.
And that was the
no,
plan.
they
that was
knew.
So-
exactly. That
Yeah.
was
To be
exactly
like,
the plan.
I guess does Rittenhouse inspire this kind of loyalty that you want to be a sleeper agent back in time and knowing that it's just
You're willing to
Yeah,
commit suicide for the
Yeah,
organization.
for the organization.
Yeah.
For the greater good is usually
Die
how
for the
that
Great.
works.
cause.
Well, that's why though he was okay with it, and then brought in the wife, and then he like
He was like,
all those eyes. He had that actor did a great job. I'm like, oh,
whoa, yeah.
He was
that-
like, no, don't.
also another notch to put of why I hate Emma in the show. I was like, you suck.
Yeah.
but also you're such a good villain.
She is.
Yeah.
Now, what I always like about this in various episodes of Timeless is that when they go back to a certain period of time, at least one, if not more than a couple of members of the team, are really geeks of that particular time period.
Yes.
I
Oh my
love
gosh.
it.
So
Love
cool.
how this one had it.
Mr.
So-
Fanboy himself.
Yes.
Mr. Wyatt.
It's like
It was
making
really
fun
cute.
of everybody else fanning
Have we seen him fan out yet, or is this the first one?
Yeah, we've only seen him
I
kind of
think he has a little
Once,
bit.
he's dropped a lot of military knowledge
yeah.
and stuff around like the
Like, he was
Alamo, but in terms
excited.
of like something that
But he
was
wasn't
kind of
like, oh my gosh, guys, and like NASCAR and like, and he's like, oh, come on, you guys.
Yeah, I thought he was gonna do like a
Oh,
squee moment.
you are coastal elites.
Right?
Those riders. I was like, yeah, NASCAR here.
No. But I loved how quiet the room got too.
Yeah,
Just
no,
like, oh.
But then again, we do have tracks here in Southern California,
We do.
so just saying.
well, it was kind of nice because it was a nod to like, okay, maybe people on the coast don't realize who this race
Yeah.
car driver is, but also it is not a real race car driver. It is somebody that's been kind of planted back in time.
But there were other people. He listed a bunch
Yes.
that he was excited
did,
about.
yeah.
Yeah. I love that we got a chance, and him kind of fanning out a little bit. We got a chance to get more of his backstory too. I loved that. That he gave a little bit more information about his father.
Well, we find out, much like Wendell Scott, the reason that Wyatt also loves him so much is that he sees a lot in common with him. Because Wyatt did a lot of running of illegal substances when he was.
We got
a youth.
backstory.
Ian Fleming apparently was who he found
When
out.
he found out about.
Okay.
But Emily, you were on the
Yeah,
chat
no,
today.
seriously, on
But they
top
all
of it.
kind of did. So
Yeah.
Also, how much do we love Rufus calling him a nerd? Like,
That made me the happiest person. I really just wanted him just to poke out and be like, nerd, and then come back. No, I thought that was really cool because we've been talking about, especially since season 1, how we don't really know much about Wyatt besides that I have a dead wife and I want to find her, save her, or something along those lines.
Right.
We got like some pretty good. Yeah. I was like, very nice.
Yeah.
oh, that
really
moment
like
when
that.
he turns
Just like
around
that.
and sees that
Thank
his
you.
team was listening. Oh,
Yeah.
I was like,
oh, can we give you a hug? He's just
take my
like-
heart.
Yeah. It was beautiful.
Well, we'd like to take a moment to give a hug to some of our listeners.
Yes.
Yes, we have a fan shout out.
Hey.
Oh, snaps.
Oh my gosh, it's Jam.
I know. I was like, what?
Well, I want to make sure that I say this slowly because it can be said inappropriately, and I don't want to be on YouTube. But clock blocker
There you go.
crush is Miracle 2012-102. Because she just went kind of like all deep into the details about her perspective on this whole Flynn being Lucy's child thing. So I just want to say a couple of things that she said. She mentioned that what if future Lucy was actually Rittenhouse and wanted out but couldn't and didn't want her child to be a part of it. So she went back into time with her maybe even unborn child and left him with Maria, who we found out was Flynn's mother.
I didn't even think about
That's
that.
a good one.
And her husband.
That's deep.
Yeah, it was like super deep. And she also mentioned that that they declared them as a child, but what if she a long time after went and wrote everything down in the journal, made a trip back to give it to him when he was a child instead of us thinking that it was
His mom.
him in the future. So
Interesting.
yeah, she took it all the way back and went pretty deep. So she is our clock blocker crush
Yeah.
for this week.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I like
Yeah,
those
that was
theories.
so good.
I know, right?
I have so many questions.
Right,
Like,
exactly.
timeless writers.
Good connection there.
And go to your
Oh,
app
so
store and you can download that game and play it. That Clock Blocker Crush.
Clock after crush.
I love that.
Right?
Right?
Is that CBC?
That's right. There you
I
go.
like it.
So we get a nice, certainly the idea is they have to escape the race course, but then they realize, something's bad's going to happen at the race course. We got to get snuck back in. So we get a moment where Wyatt and Lucy are being smuggled in by Wendell Scott in the back of his car.
Intimate,
Yes.
close moment.
Very close. I was also going,
Long
is that truck
moment.
big enough for two?
Me too. I was like, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like that's
He
incorrect.
sneaks a lot of booze. in
Yeah,
that
because I
car.
mean, we saw how, talk about moonshine. That thing was huge.
Yeah.
But, like, at the same time, I was just like, there's no way. Because, like, Wyatt looks like he's, like, what, 6'1", 6'2", maybe?
Maybe you can go under the seat a little bit, too.
I would assume so.
Like, it's
they
not just
have
here.
to.
Like, you could come in a little bit.
Yeah. I don't know.
I think he used the back seat. He extended it, put a little cover, and voila.
Okay, because
So.
I was
Oh,
like,
that's true. If he
yo.
builds the
Yeah.
car, essentially,
Yeah,
he
it-
could, like, literally move the seat up.
Yeah, it looked small.
Yeah.
I love that they just like so daintily had her hands on.
Oh,
Yeah, his arm was like right here. And I was like, okay, all right.
But their faces are like,
Right.
Yeah, because at one point, like,
Come
she's
on.
kind of, like, listening to everything, and you can't even see, like, her face because he's, like, right here. And I was just
Yes.
like, wow, you are breathing. Like,
Right.
breathing each other's air.
Right. Is that spit on your lip? Okay. No kiss though.
So
Yep,
close.
we're
So
teased.
close.
They get even closer than last week.
it looked like she was ready to kiss him first, actually.
No, it was happening.
was
There was a
like-
hand
It was
on
happening.
the face.
Yeah.
You're getting really close, and then Rufus! Clock. Blocking. Stop it!
Yes.
We want our moment. Just do it. Thank you. Makes you upset.
And our race car driver's like, oh, sorry to interrupt.
I loved that where he was like, oh,
Awkward.
He's almost like I can close his back if you want to.
We all need a minute.
I really wanted him to just be like, all
Right.
right.
It's okay. We got
MIT,
time.
you
Yeah.
were saying? Tell me more about this nod.
Right, yeah.
As he's like closing it up.
So everything starts falling apart. We get Millicent's about to do his run, but then everybody shows up. Millicent gets killed, and so they realize they've got this bomb. They got to get it out of there. So it's time for Wyatt to put
Shot
some
by
of his-
Wyatt.
Yo,
Yep.
I
Let's
didn't think he
clarify. It's not just he dies. Wyatt shoots him.
You got to. You got to get rid
Yeah,
of the
no,
bad guy.
but did we think he was gonna die though? I was not ready for that.
I mean, I think that was the idea, so I kind of thought, I mean,
Yeah,
either
alright.
way, it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
But
I thought
I
it was going to be just more an injury. But
Yeah,
then again,
me
he has to
too.
come because he's going to do it
He has
again.
to,
yeah.
I think it's one of those, once you're labeled a Rittenhouse agent,
Yeah,
You're
that's
kinda
your
done.
toast.
Well, Wyatt is
I don't
shown-
know, but Lucy, I mean, I don't know. Anyway.
No, I mean, Wyatt has had no
Exceptions to the
problem
rule.
with killing anybody.
Well, no, I
before.
mean,
It
yeah,
means that they're achieving
that's
a mission.
fine. Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
I mean, it's not fun. You
Yeah.
get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So we get to see Wyatt put his driving skills to the test.
Yes,
and
that was
he-
fun.
So cool. I want
That
more
was so
Wyatt
much
driving
fun.
scenes.
Yeah.
He had so much fun. It looked like that little moment. So it was a lot of fun. Even down to the music. I was like, yeah.
Also,
Oh, that was a good song. I like that one.
It
Yeah.
was. I also loved Lucy's face at the end where she was just like, I enjoyed that, but it was also really scary, but I also really enjoyed that. Like her eyes were like super wide, her hair was all messed up, and I was like,
She's like,
Oh,
yeah.
and then they back in the garage, and she's like, "Don't hit it!" Or
Yeah.
no, Rufus is like,
yeah,
"Don't hit
Rufus
it."
said don't hit
And
the
it's
car.
like, like
That's right.
inches.
Yeah.
Right.
That's
Uh,
awesome.
And it all comes down to Wendell Scott because we find out in the timeline that he wins the race, but he doesn't get the trophy. He does get the prize money after he protests to make sure he gets it. And so at the end of the episode, as they're saying goodbye, they talk to him about that moment, and he's like, "Oh, I know I'm never gonna get a trophy."
I love this scene. This was so.
So good.
Yeah, I do too.
It was nice though to hear that. I think it was comforting for our team to hear that this guy was like, "I know."
Yeah.
So you're like, "Oh." You're
'Cause
sad
you-
for him, but
Yeah.
Because you never want to just be sad, like, oh, if you only knew. But
Yeah.
it feels good to see that he did it for a better reason. Like, I have to do this.
the love of it,
so.
and like he knows he won.
Yeah, and I think that was a really good example of like someone who is passionate about what they do. Like, because I feel like we talk about that kind of stuff, but that's like the example. Like, if you
True
look at passion, like that's where it would be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
It was great.
Absolutely.
And so many times we read about events, not necessarily like this, but that play out where somebody, has a tragic end to a competition or whatever life event. But I never really quite hear that. Maybe they knew that these were going to be the results, but they still wanted to do it to prove whatever point what it is to themselves or just to society at large at the time.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So we end back up. Our last little nugget here is Gia.
I was waiting on it. I was like, we gotta
Oh,
mention
buddy.
it. Gotta mention it. We caught it last episode that her powers would be to tell the future, and it was clarified.
Whew.
But I'm getting irritated at the fact that she's not saying
Saying
anything to
it.
anybody.
But
Yes.
I also understand I understand because she's like, people are gonna think I'm crazy. We've been in a bunker for months.
she should
I don't
tell
know what
her
to do.
boyfriend.
No, she shouldn't. She definitely should tell Rufus because that was the problem we had in last season.
Or the moment when she sees the burn, when she sees it later, she's like, okay, this is gonna sound crazy, but I saw like a vision of your arm burning, and this is crazy. It came true. perfect in.
Right.
Yeah, needs to happen.
And I mean,
It's not going to.
you're
know.
explaining time travel. So these people know about like
Right.
how crazy can you sound? Not
I know.
Yeah.
oh, I had this deja vu moment. Not, how crazy can you be?
Get out of here, weirdo.
Yeah.
Weirdo ideas.
Right.
Beat it.
We're gonna go get our time machine now. Goodbye.
Right.
You loony. Like, I can't see it. But yeah, I'm with you that I feel like, well, new bet. What
No.
episode do you think that she'll
Tell people
Yeah.
once it's too late.
You think so?
Oh, God.
No, not Gia.
I could have told you this many
No,
episodes
no,
But
ago.
I'm dying now.
No, not her, but something's.
Oh.
I know we're not-
No, yeah, okay. All right, I'll stop.
I'll hold that on
Yeah,
predictions.
yeah. Okay, we'll wait
Yeah.
until predictions.
Yeah.
I got excited.
But also,
sorry.
as much as we were really shipping Rufus and Gia last season, now we get to see them in this episode, and it's just like a little like a kiss on the forehead, and that was it.
Oh, that was such a weak little. What's up, babe?
Yeah, I mean, he also just got back, though. I like forehead kisses. I think that's very intimate.
very sweet, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, but like,
But I know what you mean, yeah.
oh, when he was working, he could have. There could have been a little more.
True,
there.
true,
It
true.
was-
Yeah.
I guess they're still new.
Well, true, and
Yeah.
also the fact that, like, because she's also just kind of, you can see on
She's
her face that
spaced.
she's like,
She's spaced out.
yeah,
Yeah.
that maybe he was like, maybe I'll just stick to this region for today. Forehead was what I was pointing at.
I'm certain, like, in the time that they've been together, because it's been 6 months as well since, they did that big time jump. So in that time, you're not going to be maybe as,
Affectionate.
affectionate
Yeah.
on a regular basis, but
Yeah.
that's them. We, the viewers, have not experienced that time.
Right.
I mean, the first
So
time
like,
it'd be great to see the first time that they actually are kind of affectionate with each other.
Yeah.
Then we get it like, yes, oh my gosh, yes, that's right, they are a couple.
yeah, I forgot to
Well, actually, it was funny when they say goodnight and they're going to different rooms. I was like,
Yeah.
okay.
That was a little.
yeah, I didn't even think about
Because
that.
she's roommates with Lucy,
Mm-hmm.
and then he says
Well-
goodnight and goes away.
Maybe.
Not saying like, I mean, there might be more conservative people like they don't need to sleep together. I'm like, no, but it's interesting that they're like an established couple
True,
and they're
true,
like,
true.
it feels like you're in high school. Like,
Yeah.
you go to your room, I go to my room, mom and dad are listening.
Yeah.
I mean, they could have been Agent Christopher, but like, but I'm thinking maybe because Lucy needs a companion, but maybe because we can't put Wyatt in there for some question mark reason. That's why the girls are together just for like moral support for now. But like, yeah, I
That'd be
feel
too
you.
easy.
Yeah, you know
Like,
what I
oh,
mean?
Wyatt and Lucy are
Oh,
together.
that's why we don't need this kiss on screen because they're just doing it all the time.
I'm going to say it's because Gia has been having flashes of the future and realized the sex is not that great. So it's been like, we don't need to be together right now.
Get out! I'll take anti-shippers. Get out!
Yeah.
That's so good.
That was really funny. Keep matching.
Yeah, we're not going to go. We're not going to say that. I already
No, but
saw.
if you know so bad, couldn't you try to fix it or something?
No, I was just like, hey, you know what? Next time, just a little bit. No, I'm not gonna get into it.
I've seen this before. It doesn't work out.
Yeah.
Just change. Just change.
It's all good.
I feel like that leads us into some nice predictions.
Yeah.
I know Carrie is sitting on one. She's
Yeah, I
just
was like,
itching.
Do it.
So I think Gia's gonna reveal her prediction powers once somebody important dies.
Okay.
And then that's when she'll be, I could have prevented this. Because, like, the small burn, it's seeing him hurt. Like, she could have said, like, hey, this is kind of weird. Like, be careful. Actually, I would have been okay if she had been like, hey, be careful out there.
Yeah.
Like, more so. So I'm thinking she'll reveal it. Yeah, somebody's going to get very hurt. Maybe not necessarily her team, but somebody else. And then she'll be like, guys, I have a confession.
Who do you think she's gonna? So she's gonna confess to the group, or she's gonna confess to one person?
She might tell Rufus or the group. Depends on how important the person who gets affected.
Right. Okay.
If it's a bigger, higher stakes, then she'll tell the group. If it's
Yeah.
something smaller, she'll be like, "Hey, Rufus, I need to tell you something."
Okay.
Interesting.
So I'm gonna piggyback on that.
Yeah.
But I don't think she's gonna tell Rufus. I think she's gonna tell Mason.
Ah.
Because remember they were talking earlier about when he was doing his thing.
Yeah.
And then Rufus is gonna be like, why didn't you tell me first? And then the
You know
fight breaks out and rocking
you know
that
what?
boat.
Stupid
I don't want
drama.
it. I don't want it to happen, but in TV
Yeah.
world, I feel like that is
Yeah.
how that's
Yeah.
gonna work out. And then she's gonna be like, well, I didn't think you were gonna support me. It's weird. And Mason has been here the entire time. And
Yeah.
I've been watching too many soaps.
I am now going to piggyback off of that
Hey.
and say that I think because Mason is hunting for his reason why, I think she will tell Mason, and I think Mason will then tell Rittenhouse and say, hey,
No,
she's
don't
an
take
asset.
Gia.
I know, right? And I think that's going to be Mason's connection why to help.
Yeah.
Yep.
She's gonna get kidnapped.
Dang it. But also,
Ugh.
really good.
Can she see her prediction in advance?
Isn't that fun?
She's like, I
She's like, dang it, I gotta get better at this.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't
Yeah.
know. We'll
Yeah,
see.
that's tough.
I'm gonna just predict that Lucy's great grandfather will go back in time and make sure that pickled eggs are the only thing that people eat.
And then Rittenhouse, he's just gonna own all pickled eggs.
That's right,
And then
yeah.
Rittenhouse will be like, so, yeah.
The money's in the pickled egg stand.
Ah!
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for this episode of the Timeless After Show. Thanks, everybody, though, for participating in the chat. As always, you can like us on Facebook, give us those 5 stars on iTunes, subscribe to the YouTube channel, give it a thumbs up. And if you're watching even after the show airs live, Kari Lane, where can they comment?
Comment down below.
Do you have any questions you'd like left for them to answer?
When do you all, I mean, you saw the preview for next time, but when do y'all think they're gonna finally get our kiss? And a legit one, not just some little Yeah.
You want to see tongue exchange.
Whoa,
No.
whoa,
Got it,
whoa,
Kari,
whoa.
got it.
No makeouts.
Like at least a 1 1,000, 2 1,000.
2 seconds.
Yeah, at least that.
Jeez.
No peck kiss.
Yeah.
And folks, thanks for always happening in the chat. But if you want to continue the conversation with any of us after the show's over, Tarika, where can they find you?
They can find me on Instagram and Twitter, Takira_Shabrae.
And you guys can find me online at Kari D Lane. That's KaridLane.
And you guys can find me all over social media at atorres890. That's ATORRES890.
Follow me on Twitter and Instagram at HappyGoJackie. Folks, that's going to do it for this episode of the Timeless After Show. We'll be back here next Wednesday night at 7 p.m. Pacific, right here on AfterBuzz TV.
Bye, y'all.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.